I studied abroad in the south of Spain in Granada, which is actually after my freshman year. I had a professor over at Columbia named Reyes Llopis Garcia, and she was from Granada, and she recommended to me after my freshman year that I go because I told her I wanted to travel, and she said, well, don't wait to study abroad, go now. So after my freshman year, I went there, and I think it was her godparents or some people in her family ran a very small language school that was also a flamenco music school in an area of Granada which is called the Albaicin, which is it's a neighborhood in the hills where there's a lot of tradition of flamenco music. So I went and I studied language there, and it was incredible because there were no other American people at all. So it was a little bit different from the traditional study abroad experience where one goes in a group and presumably knows other people either from their university or from their country. I was thrown into it completely on my own at 18, and there were no other American people, which actually sort of necessitated that I speak Spanish constantly because the people I was studying with were also learning Spanish, but they were from all over the world. My roommates were from Germany and Italy and Switzerland, and so we were forced to communicate in Spanish. And then in my junior year, I did a study abroad trip through Arcadia University because Columbia didn't have, or Barnard didn't have one. In Granada, it's smaller. And I went, and I just had an amazing time because I already knew the city a bit, so I felt comfortable sort of moving around and exploring the deeper cuts of what life was there. So I lived with a host mother, and I joined the local choir, and I did things in Granada that made me feel as though I was actually a member of that community. I took music lessons and sort of tried to treat it as though I were actually a university student in Granada as opposed to just a study abroad student, which I think is an important distinction to make in your mind when you study abroad. Do I want to be someone studying abroad, or do I want to be a student at a different university, and sort of allow yourself the license to let go of your affiliation with where you come from, if it's Barnard or another university, and actually just say to yourself, okay, now I'm a student at the University of Granada or at the Sorbonne or wherever you are, and just allow yourself to be a student there. And it's a small thing, but it's psychological. You have to let go and let yourself key into that. So studying abroad was probably the most positive experience that I had in my college years that didn't actually take place on this campus. So it was great, and I recommend to everyone.